Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Ep.2 Chronicles Plus. The last time we started off the game we went around Lance Village, and now time for more of that.
Welcome. What would you like? Can't say I've got the best stock in the world or anything, but who does in these trying times? No real must-buys, but the wing is a pretty indispensable tool for travelers. Best not to leave town without one. The rest, well, you might find something to buy. Depends on what you need, I suppose. I used to keep herbs in stock, but there hasn't been much point since Flair built this clinic. I don't mind though, really, it's more convenient this way. It's made a dent in our profits, but Flair's much better at meeting demand than I.
So we can buy some mixed items here at Jade's Oddities. The elixir in specific is something I want to keep in mind for later, but it's way too expensive for us right now. Apples and marl flowers you can get just outside of town for free, so the main thing you want to buy here are wings. This is a magic item that'll instantly teleport you back to any town you've already visited. It's basically designed to make a narrow escape from tight situations. If you're ever lost in an area full of demons, you'll be glad to have one of these on hand. Use it, rest up, then get right back out into the fray. It's 100 gold. How about it? I'm picking one of these up as it's pretty much good to always have one on hand early on in the game to get back to town in case you need to stock back up on other things. I'll make sure I set one of everything aside for you, so if you should change your mind, you know where I'll be. Thank you. So, I already mentioned that last time we did a lot of talking with the people of Lance Village and all that. Similarly to Ease 1's LP, the first two videos of this LP are pretty slow and mostly just me talking to NPCs and getting them into the notebook, as there's no real way to speed this up without just mashing through the dialogue. Mind you, that only really applies if you're someone like me that likes to talk to NPCs in older style games like this, as either you're going to be in a situation where you need to talk to all of them, like it's Star Tropics, or the hints they could give will be paramount enough moving forward where it's worth investing the time into. On a second playthrough, or if you just don't care about that, you can just mash through and get to the people you actually need to talk to and move on. In fact, let me think. Going off my memories of the footage for Ease 1 and what I remember doing here barring editing in Ease 2, my Ease 1 recordings probably would have been about hour and a half shorter if I didn't care about character and enemy notes. Whereas, I think Ease 2 would be between 2 and 3 hours shorter on the macro scale. Mind, at least in the case of enemy notes, you still kind of want to do that to an extent in both games because of grinding, but we'll talk more about that when we actually approach some real combat in the game and how they update it from Ease 1, Chronicles Plus especially, because worth noting, like I mentioned briefly in my Ease 1 LP. Ease 1 and 2, on the modern releases like Chronicles and Complete and all that, the Ease 1 and 2 portion of the timeline is going to be the only part of the franchise I don't cover both the remake of and the original of, as while I, for instance, love the TurboGrafx release of these games. I love how good the voice acting is for the time, I love the soundtrack, the cutscenes are pretty neat and all that. There's not enough major differences between, say, the original and the remake for it to really feel worth it for me to do. Whereas in, say, the case of, like, Ease 3 and Oath and Felghana, those are radically different games in how they're structured. Same with the 3 Ease 4s. Hopefully, same to be said for Ease 5 and a remake of that in a year and a half, 2 years, or something like that. Also, just to add on to something I mentioned during Ease 1's Darm Tower stuff, at that point I believe I definitively had not played Ease 9 yet. I want to say I was in the middle of or just about to start Ease 8. I have since finished both and platinumed both. Actually, I finished 9's platinum today. At this point, I was waiting for Ease 10 to release in about a month in the West. What's up? Did you need something? Leave me be. If you have no business with me, then please just go. Don't disturb my solitude. I loathe uncivilized ruffians. Gee, with that amount of gold-framed red carpeting, you don't say, you just reek of being rich and pompous. So that actually clears up our main duties in the main part of Lance Village for now. Upon leaving the town, we're still sort of in the town by the music. Moondoria ruins are to the northeast of us, but I want to come up here to this hill section up to the northwest. Because over here are apple trees. The apple that Lilia gave us last time, you can get them infinitely here at these trees. There's one each, and they respawn over time. Relatively weak healing, but nice all the same. And over here's a marl flower. That is also a healing item, albeit it's a little bit of a different one that we can't exactly take advantage of fully yet. You just want to make sure you always have 3 of each of these at a time. Respawn times permitting, of course, though that largely only applies to the apples, as the marl flowers will respawn the moment you leave and re-enter the screen. The reason you want to have your inventory at max at 3 each for them, for one thing, it's just good to have them any recovery items on hand. But for another, there's another system that largely only leads to dialogue with NPCs that I'm not showing off, but there's several key opportunities you want to actually use it, as it leads to achievements in most cases. Ah, Adol. Hello there. Isn't this a wonderful place? It's my absolute favorite spot. I have to wonder where the demons originated from. I mean, looking at Ys from this vantage point, it just seems so peaceful and inviting. Adol, look there, across the field. Do you see that frozen cliff? That's the ice ridge of Noltia. And the building on top of the ice ridge is Solomon's Shrine, where the goddesses used to live. We've only ever seen it from here. None of us have ever actually gone there. I wonder what it's like. Well, I'm off to pick flowers. Take care, Adol. And she will actually go and pick a marl flower over here, but I want to grab it really quick because I think otherwise she'll try to grab it for herself, and you can never theoretically grab that one for a little bit. But now I want to equip the marl flowers and talk to Lilia with them equipped. We can give them to her. I love marl flowers. They grow all over the field, so they're not exactly rare, but there's something magical about them that just fills me with energy. Oh my, is this for me? Thank you so much. You made me very happy. Now we can continue to give them to her. Oh, is this for me also? Thank you so much, Adol. I'm really touched. I can't put into words how special you make me feel. I'll always treasure our closeness, always. And now I want to go grab 2 more. This is going to be me showcasing they respawn immediately upon leaving re-entering. As a lot of the times, if you give NPCs 5 items, in this case specifically marl flowers, they will get changing dialogue up to a certain point. Also, very minor quirk with Ys 1 and 2's equipment system. If you use all of an item and get more of them, you have to re-equip them to use them again. Thank you, Adol, for all your kindness. I pray that you always will be safe. Adol, thank you. 1,000 times thank you. My life is so much brighter with you in it. I'll be thinking about you every day. Always. Please take care of yourself, Adol. With that said, there's other people we can do that with right now, so we actually want to head back into Mainland's village. I am going to go farm up more marl flowers really quick, so I'm going to quickly jump cut. Get used to me doing that throughout this LP in particular, by the way, because there's a lot of places we need to go back and forth from pretty quickly in this game. Thankfully, Adol also moves very quickly. We want to head back into this house we were in earlier. I largely ignored the NPCs in here, but I want to talk to this guy. This is for me? I don't know what to say, thank you. Just so you know, while I do appreciate your generosity, I have no intention of giving you anything in return. It's a personal policy. I hate social obligations like that. Sorry, I hope you don't think less of me. I'll accept your gift, but I'm afraid I won't be giving you anything in return. I'm sorry. I hope you're not mad. Keep on gifting. No matter how much you give me, you're not getting anything in return. I'm not like other NPCs that way, I swear. You might as well stop giving me gifts. It's not like I'm concealing some sort of secret or anything. Okay, you win. I'll let you in on a well-kept secret, a real one, too, not one of those obvious ones. You've seen the ducklings that wander around Lance Village, right? They tend to eat anything that fit in their mouths. Apparently, they've even been eating gold coins lately. So now that we've done that and got that information out of Brody, we can actually head to the Duck and Ducklings up on the northeastern corner of Lance Village and get a little extra secret. This is also tied directly to an achievement in the Steam releases. Quack. Some gold flew out of the duckling's mouth. Acquired 500 gold. That is a very good nest egg this early on in the game because of the equipment you can buy. With that said, like I mentioned last time, I do not recommend using any of your gold at this point to buy a sword. As for one thing, you technically don't need it to do anything in combat, but for another, there is actually an achievement tied to waiting a little bit before getting your first sword. And I want to showcase that process effectively in this LP. But I am going to use that gold to get myself some armor in the meanwhile, because hey, that extra defense is going to go a long way early on in the game, especially given the amount of damage Adol can take very quickly in these adventures with bump combat. It's a suit of woven chainmail. It deflects sword strikes and offers marginal protection against mortal wounds. It's light and easy to move around in, but it doesn't offer that much in the way of defense. It's also only 500 gold, though. Thank you. Although I guess thinking on it, Adol takes a lot of damage in a majority of his adventures because, like the bump combat games, side-scrolling Ys 3, most of the Napishtim style games, it really is just like specifically Ys 5 because of how easy the original is, and the modern style games that he's a little beefier just due to the mechanics in question. Next up though, I want to come over here and give items to Lucy. Thanks! You want to go into the pen and see the pay cards? Thanks, next time I'll give you something. Sound good? Thanks. Here, I made you some food. Cooked it myself. For giving her 3-ish items, you get a meat pie, which is an absurdly good recovery item. It's my own secret recipe. Now, you see, given you watch the pick cards, I'm afraid to ask what type of meat this actually is, so I'm just going to run away now. And immediately come back into town, because this is me in a separate recording session. Actually, at this point, this is the second recording session for the gameplay. I forgot something here in town. After we've talked and given those 5 flowers to Lilia, we can come over here and run into her bed for a little bit. It's Lilia's bed. Get in. It smells so good. Adol? This better not be the start of a trend, my friend, because, what? With that, that's everything I wanted to do in town, though, so now it's finally time to, go actually do the combat in this action RPG. Head northeast of the town, and we reach the Ruins of Moondoria. Bump system. Adol attacks enemies by running into them. His sword is swung automatically without pressing any keys or buttons. Although Adol is able to harm enemies by successfully attacking them off-center or from behind, Ep.2 also allows him to strike enemies successfully almost 100% of the time by approaching from a diagonal direction. Alternate methods of attack may also become available as the game progresses. Attack diagonally to guarantee success. Bump combat is once again how this game works. You run into enemies face first from either off-center kilters or diagonals to do damage pretty quickly. This means you can get attacks in really quickly. It also means enemies can really do the punishment to you very quickly as well.
Huh? Who might you be? Ah, wait, I know. You're the boy Manoa was looking after. Adol, was it? My name, believe it or not, is Legs, but you may call me the Leg Man if you so desire. No weapon? In these ruins? You're alone, young man. Do you have a death wish? Even I don't come out here without a short sword. I know this area well. Here, I have a spare one I can give you. Take it, please. You'll need it.
By waiting until talking to Legs, get a short sword, an achievement will unlock in the Steam releases. And just gonna equip that because, hey, that's some extra attack stats. So the Ruins of Moondoria are largely just a very small labyrinth we can navigate ourselves through. But they, alongside the game now allowing for diagonal strikes in combat, do kind of showcase one of, I think, Ep.2's best improvements, level design. Ep. 1, especially in its latter third, was very focused on very thin hallways and it was very hard to get around and attack enemies in. Now, attacking enemies is a dream even in the relatively tight corridors of like 2 tiles wide. Right there, though, we got ourselves a Rhoda Fruit. That is another recovery item that works similarly to the Marrow Flowers and restores something we actually don't have access to yet, though it might have something to do with the second bar beneath our health bar. Call it a hunch. Next up, I want to grab an item around this corner. Right there, you might notice that gray tile in the middle of the wall. This is the Ancient Tablet. A character actively mentioned this, I believe, last part? Let's take a look at that in our inventory and read what it has to say. The following is written in worn letters on the tablet. The words of the priests lie written in the 6 books, and their power will lead the hero to this land. Below ground is a door sealed shut to halt the demon's advance. When the books have been restored to their rightful owners, that seal will be released. So that's sort of our first 20%, 30% of the game goal that I'll get more into as we go. With that said, now that we're in an area with enemies and we have a sword and we can do combat, the first duty that you should do after getting the Ancient Tablet and the sword itself, level grinding. Thankfully, because of how quick combat is in these games, you don't really have to worry about grinding taking too long. I'd say at longest, a grinding session in this game is like 20 minutes, and that's if you go above and beyond with the grinding. As I will successfully do in this LP, because we do reach max level by the end of this, just like in Ep. 1. The way I'm going to do most of the grinding in this game is I'm going to cut it out, except for when I exactly get a level up, just to showcase how many I'm getting. As largely the process is pretty samey, but just to showcase you what it's like, it is effectively what we're seeing right now. Scroll around area looking for enemies, run into them, scroll back the same areas you went and kill the ones that respawned. Repeat until hit level. Hey there, I'm Estelle from Lance Village. You're Adol, right? It's good to see you feeling better. What's that you say? Dr. Flair's been involved in a cave-in? How awful! So you've come to rescue him then, I suppose? But I can't open this door without the Elder's express... Oh, you have permission? Well then, in you go. Notably, of course, in the case you didn't get permission, you have to go talk to the Elder at this point. There are a lot of demons roaming the abandoned Rastini mine these days. The villagers don't go down there at all anymore, save for when they need medicinal herbs. And even then, it's usually just Dr. Flare himself, so do be careful down there, okay? So we effectively already have access to our second dungeon. This technically is less of a dungeon and more of an adventure field, I guess, in some descriptions. But we are going to be going there after we get some more levels. Worth noting, though, enemies in this game work just like they do in Ys 1 and a lot of other Falcom games. They give diminishing returns on experience. As while the experience you need for a level also continuously raises as you get through the game, the amount of experience an early game enemy gives you lowers. A good way to put it into numbers that's not exactly relevant to enemies around here is, say an enemy is of a certain level, they'll give 20 experience when you're a good distance below that level. As you approach it, they might start giving 15 or even they're listed 10. But after you hit their level, the experience will slowly halve and halve until it hits 1. So past a level past them, it'll be 5 experience. Another one, 2.5 or 3. Past that, maybe 1. So at this point, I've hit, I believe, level 6 with Adol, and that means I can now kill these stone guys guarding this treasure chest. They are very healthy, but you can, in fact, kill them. The reason I waited this long to do this to begin with, if an enemy's stats outweigh yours by a certain amount, I think you effectively do 0 damage, or at least a decimal of damage that rounds down to 0, so it's just literally not worth your time at all. And that chest behind them, though, we got the Rod of Divinity, so we might as well go take that up to Leg, see if he can say anything about it. Might as well take a look at it ourselves, too. Served as proof of a great leader. Has a strange air of dignity to it.
Swordsman, that what you hold is none other than the Rod of Divinity. It's just what I had always assumed would be in that treasure chest. The statue up ahead represents the 2 goddesses of Ys. The Rod of Divinity signifies one who is worthy to lead. The magic of the priest shall be inherited only by its bearer. If you touch the rod upon the goddess's statue, I believe you'll receive the ability to use magic. From this point on, your magic power shall surely show you the way. The moment Adol touched the rod to the goddess statue, he felt a surge of energy course through his body. Now we have an MP bar. This is what the Rotafruit as well as the Marrow Flowers restores. Adol actually gets magic in this game. It's not a very in-depth magic system, but the game does do a good amount to incentivize you using it. From memory, even more so in the older versions of the game, as it's much more balanced around it versus your actual attacks. At this point, though, I'm doing more grinding, using these enemies as my grinding spot. Also, you might notice I now have text on the top left of the screen. That's because if you press the select button on the PSP versions, or whatever controller you're playing with, it'll actively show you all of your equipment and your current stats. Now, most of this information is available through either the equipment menu or the inventory, yes, or literally what's on the HUD. The main reason I usually have this up is so I have an on-screen representation of my level at all times so I know exactly where I am. With that said, welcome to the Sanctuary of Tull. We heard about this place a couple of times last part. That door back there is locked, so we're gonna ignore it for now. And instead come up to this door. Ooh, nice and calm music. I am the priest Hadal. It is good that you have come, warrior. Disaster once again falls upon the land of Ys. As the demons appeared in the world below, so too did they here in Ys. He who controls them resides within the Solomon Shrine. When you have brought each of the books of Ys to its rightful owner, the way there shall be open to you. Adol was bathed in the holy light and his wounds were healed. So, as was lightly stated earlier, our main goal in this first portion of the game is to get these 6 books of Ys we start the game with into the statues here between Sanctuary Tull and the upcoming Rastini Mine. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we explore the mine more in depth and hopefully find the doctor in the process. See you guys then.